Hello. Are you looking for all the evidence and analysis you could ever want when writing about the theme of poverty within A Christmas Carol? Well, look no further. The aim of this video is to provide you with all the information you need to help you achieve the very highest marks when being asked to explore poverty in a novella. What we'll do now is run through a plethora of key quotes and analysis which you can include. So let's begin. Mankind was my business. The common welfare was my business. Charity, mercy, forbearance, and benevolence were all my business. The dealings of my trade were but a drop of water in the comprehensive ocean of my business. The notion of business broadens in depth, something that Scrooge has yet to understand. Business is used as a pun. Rather than focusing on financial wealth, business also relates to an area of interest. Humanity should be his main occupation, otherwise we will all end up in hell. The list of character traits Mind discusses contrasts the list Dickens uses to initially describe Scrooge, highlighting to the reader that Scrooge is also destined to repeat Marley's fate. With but a drop of water, this imagery highlights that the selfish interests were of minuscule importance. Rose, Mrs. Cratchit, Cratchit's wife, dressed out but poorly in twice-turned gown, but brave in ribbons which are cheap and make a goodly show for sixpence. Bob's wife reflects not only the poverty of the family, who represent the working class, but the word brave highlights the spirit of determination which enabled the poor to survive and attempt to enjoy their existence. The repetition of negative vocabulary such as poorly and cheap create a sense of poverty. This is intended to ensure the reader sympathises with the Cratchits, as they have already discovered that the family are hard-working people who are simply mistreated by Scrooge. They are men, said the spirit, looking down upon them, and they cling to me, appealing from their fathers. This boy is ignorance, this girl is want. Beware them both, and all of their degree, but most of all beware this boy, for on his brow I see that written which is doom, unless the writing be erased. Deny it, cried the spirit, stretching out his hand towards the sky. Slander those who tell it ye, admit it for your factious purposes, and make it worse, and bide the end. Another of Dickens's messages to his reader here: beware ignoring the fate of the poor and their needs. Doom highlights if society does not help the less fortunate, then disaster will befall society. Slander those who tell it ye. This exclamatory sentence highlights the strong sentiment of the character and Dickens, that we must stop individuals who try to say poverty is always a fault of the poor person. Bob is proof that this is not the case. If he finds me going there in good temper year after year and saying, Uncle Scrooge, how are you? If it only puts him in the vein to leave his poor clerk £50, that's something. And I think I shook him yesterday. It was their turn to laugh now at the notion of his shaking Scrooge. Fred is the only person who believes in the power of transformation. He believes that nobody, not even his uncle, is past hope. Poor clerk, not only financially, but in regards to the treatment he has received at the hands of Scrooge, year after year, highlights the persistent nature of the character. He is not afraid to preach the positive message of God. Laughing at the notion of shaking Scrooge highlights that all consider him unchangeable. A small matter, said the ghost, to make those silly folk so full of gratitude. The Ghost of Christmas Past is mocking Scrooge's lack of generosity by highlighting that a small amount of money and Christmas spirit can fill people with gratitude. The adjective full highlights to the reader that only a measly amount of charity can ensure that people are completely happy. So thank you. You need to make sure you're using that analysis in your work to improve, obviously, the quality of your essays. So good luck with your revision.